I am Jason, and welcome to another episode of Historically Marked. Another Route 66 edition, this time in Edwardsville, Illinois. Edwardsville, like all the other towns and cities along Route 66, was very big, bustling. A lot of travelers from coast to coast were traveling this famous road. As a matter of fact, a lot of them still do today. But a lot of people from around the world do come through Edwardsville and check out what the old scene of Route 66 was like back in the day. But unfortunately, there's some different issues, if you know what I mean. For one, Edwardsville doesn't really do a lot for like its Route 66 heritage. And by that I mean there's a lot of the historic buildings are gone, like the old A&W building that's gone. It's a parking lot now. Some old buildings still exist, but a lot of its landmarks have not been preserved, and there's not even a marker doing that. So, but on the flip side of the coin though, Edwardsville does host its annual Route 66 car show and festival in June, with the exception of this year, 2020, because of obvious COVID-19 concerns, and that's understandable. But one good thing that Edwardsville did agree to is having this experience hub behind me posted about 10 or 15 years ago, and I will give you a close look at that. This here is the experience hub. This is one of, I think, 14 or 16 in the state of Illinois. This is the second one as you're coming from Missouri. And all of them have the same front end, but like I said, they're still useful because it's got a map of all the Route 66 towns. It lets you know where I'm here. And if you saw my Chain of Rocks Bridge video, you got to listen to this song right here by Bobby Troop. And it doesn't look like it's working at the moment. So who knows, it probably got played out to death. I know the sun's kind of bright. Now, even though they do all have the same front end, this one talks about Route 66 in Edwardsville. Edwardsville, as it says, is the Madison County seat. It is not the largest city. Grant City and Alton have both beat them to it, and it always has been that way, as a matter of fact. But Edwardsville did have some stuff to offer from 1926 to the mid-50s. And we're going to be going up that way too, because we're going to see the site where Cathcarts Cafe was, the Highway Tavern, Creech Hardware, and the iconic Bohm Building. And for those passport stamp geeks, make sure you bring your piece of paper or your book or whatever it is, your passport, that's what I meant to say. City Park, where I'm going to show you too, where they had all the free concerts. This one talks more about the Cathcarts restaurant. The bottom panel is basically a map. It shows all the Route 66 alignments. Now, the alignment we're on is the 1926 to 1956 route. And as I said in my previous videos, Route 66 videos that is, it gets confusing for a lot of Route 66 enthusiasts, for those newbies who want to travel the highway, because St. Louis, as well as this section of Illinois, has a lot of different ways to cruise through old Route 66. But it does have some non-Edwardsville places like Cahokia Mounds. It's got the world's largest ketchup tower and the Wildey Theater. Here's a little wide view of the marker. That is Circle K. I remember back in the day, 20 years ago, that was Convenient Food Mart. This is where Route 66 curves. And right over there is Lincoln Middle School. That used to be a high school up until 1997. I actually attended high school there at that building, only my freshman year. I know a lot of people, including family members, who attended all 4 years there. Crazy days. The good old days, rather. I'm going to be walking up that street, as well as a section of the much busier part of Edwardsville, so follow me. And as I was saying, I'll be walking up that way. I'm not sure what these former buildings are, but you can tell there are a lot of professional buildings like dentists and whatnot. And again, to my left is the old Edwardsville High School, also known as Lincoln Middle School. So as I'm heading up, Route 66 and Illinois Route 157 will be making a sharp right. And this is where Route 66 would take a sharp right. If you can see that sign on the top of the stoplight there. Now as we make our right turn, our sharp right turn that is, a lot more professional buildings, law offices, doctors, dentistries, banks, you name it. And even the First Baptist Church of Edwardsville is coming up. As I'm doing this video, I'm still in my late 30s, but I feel so old saying this, but I'm old enough to remember when an A&W root beer stand was at this spot. Not where I'm standing, but kind of like where I'm pointing. It was a classic car hop drive-in stand. It was definitely an old school A&W style building, if you know what I mean. I wish I had the picture with me. But this is where me and my friends would eat our coney dogs, our butterscotch shakes, our chili cheese fries, and root beer floats throughout the 1996 to 1997 school year. And that was, of course, the last year when Edwardsville High School at the old building where I just showed you had classes. And that was kind of blamed on the restaurant's demise. Plus, there was also need for some parking space. So yeah, problem solved, people. I do, however, one good memory that came out of this A&W besides my own personal memories is Brenda Lee, who was becoming a star at a young age. She was 8 years old. Her and her management and family were traveling on Route 66, and she was instantly recognized, and there was a story somewhere where she was actually autographing dollar bills for all the people who were at this restaurant. So that's definitely a cool story if you know. Brenda Lee is still alive, so maybe she actually remembers it. And this is downtown Edwardsville. This is not Route 66 by any means, but it is 143 and 159. It takes you to either Bunker Hill or Wood River and Alton, depending on which way you want to go. This is about late afternoon, and the city streets are bustling. The courthouses and law offices, and as well as a lot of small businesses, make up the main street of Edwardsville. And across from there is this historical sign. It's actually indoors, so it doesn't really count as outdoors, but it does say something about the Bohm building. It says that it's Edwardsville's first office building. And that right there is the Edwardsville Public Library. And behind it is the city park, as that's where they usually have their Route 66 car festival. And not just that one, but many other festivals too. This building right here is what is known as the Czech Building. It is actually listed on the National Historic Places, I'm sorry, National Register of Historic Places. In fact, here is a plaque that tells us that. Here we go. And that used to be a gas station, but of course, as you can see, they've converted it into a strip mall. That's a good place to eat, though, by the way, Chavez. I know they're not paying me to say that. And that is the cool fountain where a lot of people get their prom pictures taken. And that is the city park. And the big church building I'm approaching is St. Boniface, which has been an iconic symbol of this town, where this is also, of course, where Bonifest happens every Memorial Day weekend, except for this year. And I'll be continuing to be strolling along old Route 66, which is actually, right now, Illinois Highways 157 and 143, but they're soon about to break up when we get closer. To my left is this great bookstore. called Afterwards Books. They actually have some cool Route 66 information located inside whenever they're open, of course. But unfortunately, yeah, there's a sign on the door that says they are closed, but in the past, they have welcomed a lot of Route 66 travelers with a lot of brochures. So, but definitely check them out on social media or on their website and see their hours whenever you're traveling through here. To my right is the place where Cathcarts Cafe once stood. I'm talking about that brick building just right over there. It looks brand new. I think it's a dance studio now, and it's got a couple other tenants inside there. But that place held a lot of history because that was once a 24-hour cafe, and it suited all Route 66 travelers. It was like a classic 1940s, 1950s style cafe. It closed in about the 1950s. But a lot of Edwardsville residents still remember what it was like having lunch or dinner or even a late night meal there. And it is said that Robert Wadlow, also known as the world's tallest man, once ate there on a stop through town. So yes, it's kind of sad that that place doesn't really have a historical marker to commemorate that spot. But you know, nothing can be perfect. What can I say? Across the street from there was a bar that also was good for Route 66 travelers. This building, however, has not really had much luck because it has been a bar in its many eras of existence. It was recently known as the Highway Tavern, but that place didn't last long. Before that, it was Newman's. But yes, this is a classic Route 66 building right here. And that over there is RP Lumber, which of course that's the headquarters of the whole Illinois-based company. We are reaching the point where 157 and 143 break up, and that of course is where Route 66 changes course. So for Route 66 travelers, if you're coming from the southern direction, this is where you turn left. Takes you to Hamel. If you go straight, it takes you to Marine and Highland. And if you want to go as far as you can, Piron. And here's a little shot of Route 157 as it heads toward Hamel. There's, I mean, you can't see it, but it's Mark Muffler Shop, plus a couple other auto shops as well. So, but it quietly goes off into the country, and about 10 miles later, you're in Hamel, Illinois. All right, so I hope you learned some cool Route 66 information. I'll see you guys. This is Historically Mart. I am Jason, signing off. Happy travels.